Have you ever wondered why so many people stay stuck in the same place, even though they watch motivational videos every single day? They get excited for a moment, but a week later, they are back to the same lazy routine. Do you know why? Because motivation is like a spark. It shines bright for a second and then disappears. But the real secret, the one that separates achievers from dreamers, is discipline. Let me take you to a quiet mountain village in the northern countryside of Canada, where the river sings in the spring and the fields glow as summer begins. There lived a young man named Daniel, born into a humble farming family. Daniel was intelligent, full of curiosity, and like many young adults, he dreamed of achieving something significant with his life. Every evening, after a long day in the fields, he would sit by the waterfall near his village, scrolling through his phone or reading books about success. He often told himself, "Tomorrow I'll wake up early and study harder. Tomorrow I'll change my life." For a few days he would wake up full of energy, but soon the excitement would fade away, and old habits returned. This cycle repeated again and again. Daniel felt frustrated. He kept asking himself, "Why can't I stay consistent? Why do I always fall back?" He thought motivation was the answer, but it kept vanishing too quickly. One afternoon, while walking back from the river, Daniel noticed an older man sitting quietly under a large maple tree. His name was Elias, an old carpenter known in the village, not just for his craftsmanship, but also for the disciplined rhythm of his life. He woke up every day at dawn, worked with focus, and lived simply, without wasting time. People respected Elias deeply, not for wealth, but for his wisdom. Curious and restless, Daniel approached him. "Elias," Daniel asked, "how do you keep going every single day? Don't you ever feel tired or unmotivated?" The old man looked at Daniel and smiled. He pointed at the river flowing steadily beside them and said, "Look at that water. It has been moving for thousands of years. Sometimes it carries logs, sometimes stones, sometimes nothing at all. But it never stops flowing. That is discipline, Daniel. Motivation is the rain, but discipline is the river." Daniel felt the words sink deep in his heart. For the first time, he began to see that his problem wasn't lack of motivation. It was lack of discipline. But Elias had more to share. "Meet me tomorrow morning before sunrise," Elias said firmly. "I want to show you something that will change the way you live forever." Daniel hesitated for a moment, but the strength in Elias's eyes made him nod. That night he went to bed early, still unsure what lesson awaited him. But something told him this was the turning point of his life. The next morning the air was crisp, carrying the scent of pines and wet soil. It was that magical time when spring flowers were still scattered across the meadows, but summer warmth was already knocking on the door. Daniel struggled to wake up, but remembering Elias's words, he pushed himself out of bed before the first rays of sunlight touched the sky. As promised, Elias was already waiting near the narrow forest trail, holding a small wooden walking stick. Without saying much, he gestured for Daniel to follow. Together, they walked toward the hillside, where the sound of rushing water grew louder with every step. After a short climb, they arrived at a waterfall, a tall, firm stream cutting through rocks and flowing endlessly into the river below. Elias pointed to the rocks at the base of the waterfall. "Do you see how smooth these stones are?" he asked. "Yes," Daniel replied. "They must have been shaped like this by the water." "Exactly," Elias nodded. "But did it happen in one day?" "No. It took years and years. The water keeps falling, never stopping, never taking a holiday. That is the power of discipline. One small drop again and again becomes stronger than even the hardest stone." Daniel stood silently, watching the water crash, then flow steadily, day after day without rest. He began to realize the lesson hidden in nature itself. Elias continued, "You think success comes from sudden bursts of effort. You push yourself for a day or two, then quit. That's why you fail. Discipline is not about working when you feel good. It's about working when you don't feel like it at all. It's about repeating small actions every day until they turn into unbreakable habits." The two sat under a tree near the waterfall, the morning sun spreading golden light across the valley. Elias picked up a bamboo stick he had been carrying and placed it in Daniel's hand. "Do you know the story of how bamboo grows?" Elias asked. Daniel shook his head. "A farmer plants a bamboo seed. For years, nothing grows above the soil. But underground, the roots are spreading deep and wide. Then suddenly, in the 5th year, it shoots up sky high within weeks. Discipline is like bamboo, Daniel. All those days when you think nothing is happening, those are the days your roots are growing. If you give up, you'll never see the rise." Daniel's eyes widened. For the first time, the truth hit him hard. He finally understood why his life hadn't changed. He wasn't nurturing his roots with discipline. He was only chasing quick excitement. As the morning stretched on, Daniel made a silent promise to himself. "I will no longer depend on temporary motivation. I will build discipline, one small action at a time." Elias smiled knowingly. He had seen that look in the eyes of only a few people before, the look of someone ready to transform. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Daniel kept his promise to himself. He woke before dawn, just as the morning stars faded and the first light touched the treetops. He followed the rhythm of the seasons, feeling the gentle warmth of lingering spring mornings slowly give way to the stronger summer sun. Daniel's daily actions were never grand gestures. He didn't suddenly become perfect or unstoppable overnight. Instead, he built small habits that, like the river's water droplets, slowly but surely shaped his life. On some days, he stumbled. There were times when his spirit felt tired, and the temptation to return to old, easy ways was strong. But each time, he remembered the steady waterfall and the bamboo tree roots growing invisibly beneath the earth. Years in, Daniel's village began to notice a change. He was no longer the uncertain young man waiting for motivation to strike. He was steady, reliable, disciplined. People came to him for advice, not because he had quick answers, but because he showed how steady effort could create real change. In the village, life was simple but full of meaning. Daniel spent mornings walking by the river, sometimes stopping to greet the fishermen casting their nets, the monks meditating near the trees, and the farmers tending their fields. The peaceful hum of the village life, birdsong, rustling leaves, distant waterfall, became part of his daily meditation. His clothes were simple, his home modest, but within him burned a quiet fire of accomplishment and purpose that no wealth could match. Daniel realized success was not about dazzling moments of inspiration or huge breakthroughs. It was about showing up every day. It was about doing the small things that seemed meaningless alone, but when repeated, built a foundation stronger than any storm. Discipline had transformed his life. The river trickled, turning to steady flow, the bamboo roots deep and strong beneath the surface. Sometimes the hardest part of a journey is simply starting and staying consistent when you dawn to feel like it. Motivation can bring that spark, but don't wait for it to carry you across the ocean of your goals. Rely on discipline, the slow, constant force that shapes mountains and polishes stones. What tiny action can you repeat tomorrow and the day after that will build your own foundation beneath the surface? Remember, every river starts with a single drop, and every towering bamboo tree was once a seed watered day by day. Don't just chase motivation, build discipline. Light that fire each day, no matter how faint the flame feels. Thank you for listening to this story of simple living, deep thinking, and enduring discipline. If this story touched your heart, or gave you new strength to keep going, please support my work by liking this video and subscribing to my channel, Kai's Mindset Mastery. Here, we dive deep into stories and lessons that build unstoppable mindsets for life. Your journey to mastery starts with one choice: to show up and keep growing. Stay disciplined, stay inspired, and remember, the future you dream of is built one day at a time. Until next time, keep moving forward, and I'll see you in the next story.